Hi, folks. Let's do the weekly overview. It is like 9:12 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, the 25th. It is Thanksgiving week. And I can't say that I have a ton of energy. I'm assuming you guys don't either. It's the Thanksgiving week, so people are going into the holidays. But I want to keep my commitment, and I kind of want to. There's something to be said for a certain kind of discipline and getting videos out when you say you will and doing the weekly video and all that kind of stuff. And there's some stuff to share that might be helpful and useful in grounding us as we move forward. Now, Mercury went retrograde today. And the last video I did was a set of reminders on Mercury retrograde related to Mercury retrograde. And of course, I've done a larger, more comprehensive video on Mercury in his shadow degrees and shadow period and retrograde as well. So today, Monday, November the 25th, that's the big news. Mercury goes retrograde. Outside of that, a lot of the focus of the week is centered around this within the sign of Sagittarius. And that means the house occupied by the sign of Sagittarius in your birth chart. And we will break that down, but what we're heading to as we head to November the 30th, we're in the last week of the month, and we're headed to the new moon in Sagittarius on November the 30th. This means that the moon is going to get darker and darker and darker as the week progresses. In some ways, for those people who are going to be on holiday, it's not a bad way. It's a good way to have, the energy is getting depleted. It may mean, hopefully for people, a quieter Thanksgiving in certain cases. I'm certainly, in fairness, with Mercury retrograde and going retrograde today. Now, as I've said to you in the Mercury retrograde, by the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when people are really traveling, Wednesday especially, maybe things will be a little bit better, a little bit easier. They'll be, but the bottom line is it's not a great week to travel. Let me just stop beating about the bush. But it is what it is. But with the moon getting darker, our energy, our productivity, certainly by the time we get to the 28th, 29th, and the 30th, I think, yes, Valentine, I'm doing a video. Sorry, my cat has started to talk to me. I'm assuming he wants to use the bathroom. That's what he's letting us know. So just so you know. The 30th is Saturday. As we get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll be in the dark of the moon, and our energy is going to be low. Our energy is going to be depleted. We're going to be releasing this last month, and the month that started on November the 1st with the new moon in Scorpio. For the next 5 days till the 30th, it is still the Scorpio month, so it will not surprise me if you are still getting a few things done and wrapping up a few things related to the Scorpio part of the chart as transits and aspects build in the Sagittarius part of the chart. And then the new moon occurs on November the 30th in Sagittarius, and December becomes, until December the 30th, when we have the new moon in Capricorn, very much the month of Sag. And Mercury will remain in Sag till about January the 11th. So that's roughly where the different focal points are. Let's just go through what's going on this week in terms of aspects, shall we? We've got Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius today, the 25th. On the 27th, the Sun in Sagittarius trines Mars in Leo. And Venus in Capricorn squares Chiron in Aries. Then on the 30th, we have the new moon in Sag. And on December the 1st, which is the Sunday, we have Mercury retrograde trining Chiron for the second time. Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius trining Chiron in Aries. So Mercury retrograde today, November the 27th, Wednesday, the Sun in Sag trines Mars in Leo. Now, the Sun from Sag trined the North Node in Aries on November the 24th, yesterday. So the Sun basically, we have this trine between, and Mars trined the North Node on November the 17th. So we have this grand trine completing with the Sun having finished his trine to the North Node yesterday, is making the final trine to Mars on the 27th, from Sagittarius to Leo. And on that day, Venus in Capricorn squares Chiron in Aries. November the 30th, new moon in Sagittarius, and December the 1st, a retrograde Mercury in Sagittarius trining Chiron in Aries. That is as far as I'm going to go. On December, I say that, I'm about to go into December the 2nd. We may as well talk about December the 2nd, which is Monday. It's a lovely, lovely aspect. Venus in Capricorn trines Uranus in Taurus. You know, after this week, the next two videos that I'm going to do are going to be about the new moon in Sagittarius and the personal planets making the transits through Capricorn and the aspects that they're going to make. That's really what's on the calendar. Now, before I forget, just because it's a little late and my own energy is low, please know that I am offering, while Mercury is retrograde, $50 30-minute single topic area of focus reading. So if you have a question about a particular topic, relationships, career, work, moving, real estate, income, whatever it is, or a particular house in your chart, eclipses, a particular theme, it's a 30-minute reading. If we go up to about 40 minutes, that's totally fine. $50. Email address is in the description box. It's something I'm doing while Mercury is retrograde, so you can take advantage of that if that suits your budget and suits any inquiries you may have. Also, if you would like to gift for holiday gifts, readings with me to anybody, feel free to email me and we can talk about what format and price point makes sense. I don't want to charge what's, we'll talk it through because different people may want different things. And it's not a question of me cutting someone a favor and not being fair and equitable to someone else. I want to be open to understanding what someone may want and me sharing rates and us kind of getting to a place. I kind of feel like I need to work with people to get a clarity on what is going to work for them from a holiday season perspective. And outside of that, if you're interested in getting more information about my regular readings and rates, of course, just for anything, just use my email address below. Okay, so we have currently the Leo communications. Let's start with Aries. We've got the North Node in Aries and Chiron in Aries, Uranus in Taurus, Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, nothing in Cancer right now. We've got Mars in Leo, and we're still in the Leo communication cycle, nothing in Virgo, South Node in Libra, no planets in Scorpio, but it's still the Scorpio month because the last new moon started a month of Scorpio on November the 1st. So till November the 30th, we're still in the Scorpio month. We have the Sun and a retrograde Mercury in Sagittarius. And those are the two planets that are making the most active aspects this week. We have Venus in Capricorn, also making a couple of aspects. We have Pluto in Aquarius. Now we have Saturn in Neptune and Pisces. And wouldn't you know it, this is going to be 1 week where we don't have to talk about the Pisces planets. Those of you who've been following my work for a while will know that I keep talking about the crisis in Pisces. See, I couldn't do a video without bringing it up in 2014, 15, 16, 17, and what we're doing to stabilize it. But there aren't any aspects related to that. You can't explore you can't ignore where Saturn is at any given point in time. I certainly have it on my agenda this week, if I can get to it, to honor Saturn with a couple of tasks in Pisces. So hopefully I just have more time this week to take care of certain things related to that. But the aspects themselves, I'm going to start yesterday on the 24th because it helps with this kind of grand trine energy. The Sun in Sagittarius trine the North Node in Aries. Today, the 25th, Mercury in Sagittarius went retrograde. 27th, Sun in Sagittarius trines Mars in Leo. November the 30th, new moon in Sagittarius. December the 1st, Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius trines Chiron. And outside of this, the only other aspects are that Venus in Capricorn squares Chiron on the 27th of November and trines Uranus on December the 2nd. And while that is happening technically next week, that is an important development. Venus, wherever she goes, as I've been saying to you recently, does two things. She asks the question, are all the matters related to the house I'm transiting in alignment with where you want to go? Do you know what you value? Do you know what you're working towards? What your values are, what you value, and is everything aligned with nurturing, protecting, growing, moving in the direction that you value in the part of the chart occupied by Capricorn? She also provides opportunity, offers opportunities to apply for things, relationship, financial, creative opportunities, planting seeds in the Capricorn part of the chart. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on the Capricorn part of the chart and the personal planets moving through that. But once Venus is done with her transit by December the 7th, I think, or December the 7th, the 8th, no, before that, December the 5th, 6th, December, somewhere there. End of the first week of December. The sun is only going to come into Capricorn after that on December the 22nd. So whatever seeds Venus is planting, they don't get picked up on until December the 22nd and the new moon in Capricorn on December the 30th. A lot of the activity still remains in the Sag part of the chart, with Mercury being retrograde and the sun and Mercury getting ready to conjunct on December the 5th. So the sun brings a certain visibility and awareness as he trines the North Node and Mars, the sun in Sagittarius. Wherever the sun goes, he just lights up, illuminates. It's like an annual review of the Sagittarius part of the chart that is occurring at the same time as Mercury is retrograde. And the sun and Mercury retrograde will meet up on December the 5th and have their conversation and downloads about inaugurating a communication cycle in the Sagittarius part of the chart. I will talk about this as we get to it. But Venus went over the Sagittarius part of the chart between the middle of October and November the 7th or so, November the 11th. And wherever Venus goes, she provides opportunities to build harmony, relationship opportunities, financial opportunities, creative opportunities, and sorry, I'm clearing, my sinuses are clearing. And after Venus, it's Mercury that came into the Sagittarius part of the chart. And a lot of the action, the activity in the Sagittarius part of the chart since the middle of the second week of November has been centered around more communication, processing, talking to people, initiating conversations, and a first set of that kind of communication, processing, communicating, talking, writing, thinking about talking, communicating, writing, has taken us to today when Mercury goes retrograde. For some reason, now Mercury says, hold on a second, we need to just kind of reverse back. And you may be in a place as a result of Venus's transit from the middle of October to November, to November the 11th or so, Mercury coming into Sagittarius. These dates are starting to drive me crazy. Sorry, I hate being vague. It really annoys me when I do that. Sorry, give me one sec. Yep, Venus, October 17th to November 11th. Mercury came into Sagittarius on November the 2nd. Thank you. So the bottom line is, this week, as Mercury goes retrograde, we may be in a place where we are, if Venus asks the question, this, what I'm going to share, is really at the heart of this weekly overview, okay, 14 minutes in. So just hear me out. Venus went through the Sagittarius part of the chart, as we said, October 17th to November 11th. And she typically asked, what needs to be done here to bring this part of the chart, the Sagittarius part of the chart, the house occupied by Sagittarius in your chart, into alignment with what you value, where you're headed, where you want to go, what your values are. Some part of this activity is keeping an, I said I wouldn't be talking about Saturn and Pisces, but here it is. Some part of it, because the planets as they go through the Sagittarius part of the chart will square Saturn, and Neptune. And because Mercury will square Saturn 3 times as part of his retrograde, sometime part of this consideration is about what you're trying to do to bring the Sagittarius part of the chart, the house occupied by the sign of Sagittarius in your chart, matters related to that, into alignment in such a way that it actually helps stabilize, structure, take responsible actions, set boundaries in the Pisces part of the chart. And from a communication perspective, some element of communication started November the 2nd, that as you head to today, November the 25th, a first phase of that is now done. It could be initiating conversations. It could be thinking about communications. Now that Mercury goes retrograde, you may, till December the 15th, find yourself, because as you head to December the 15th, when Mercury goes direct, not only do you now have the Sun in Sagittarius, since about the 22nd, for about 3 days already, you are also heading to a new moon in Sagittarius on November the 30th, which will, with a new moon and the month created by the new moon, it focuses action. Opportunities can come up. Action needs to be taken. Opportunities are pursued. The actual work of bringing the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment with where you're trying to go and where you're headed can actually happen primarily in the month created by the new moon. And the Sun will actually be present. The new moon happens early enough through the Sun's transit that the Sun is going to be there, kind of overlooking everything, keeping the connection to source active. Some part of you, for the first 3 weeks of December, as these communications and these reconsiderations, things becoming known, things becoming clarified, questions being asked, try and keep the communication as civil as possible so that things can emerge comfortably and you can determine what is going on as you contemplate bringing the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment with where you want to go. Why is this important? It is important because with Mercury going retrograde today, we have really entered what I'm calling the churn all the way to the middle to the end of April of next year. Mercury retrograde till December 15th. Mars goes retrograde December the 6th, all the way to February the 26th, 27th. Then by the time we get to early March, Mercury and Venus are retrograde again in Aries and back into Pisces and then into Aries again. So we have personal planets retrograde one after the other from today till the middle of April. Very 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward kind of energy. What is the new? What are we building towards? How are we stabilizing it? And what do we need to take care of from the past? And the Sagittarius Mercury retrograde is the first of these 3 gates, these 3 retrogrades that we have to go through to get to the middle to the end of April and feel like either then for people who have Mercury retrograde in the birth chart or the end of the first week of June for people who have Mercury direct in their birth chart is when we are comfortably in an energy that we have been trying to move towards since March, April, May of 2023. And we are now in that process. And Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is building on Venus's transit through Sag, Mercury's first foray through most of Sag, and saying, we have more to discuss and more to explore. We have more to talk about. We have more to uncover. We have more to get clear about. And some of what we're going to get clear about might be frustrating. Some of it might be healing. Some of it may be clarifying. So try and keep, I think it is important to be in communication, and you're going to find it imperative to be in communication related to the Sagittarius part of the chart. Matters related to the house occupied by Sagittarius in your chart. But try and keep them relatively calm and civil until it gets to a point that you really discover something that you feel like lines have to be drawn. And even those lines can be drawn in a relatively civil way. But as reaching resolutions and agreements may not occur till Mercury goes direct December the 15th as you move, let's just say December 16th, 17th, December 18th to January the 11th, when Mercury is direct and moving through Sagittarius again. And as this week continues, the Sun from Sagittarius, because there's something about the Sagittarius part of the chart that holds the key, one of three keys as we get to the middle to the end of April. We have to ask the question, what is it that we're trying to do to, as part of our annual review of the Sagittarius part of the chart, as part of bringing the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment with where we're going, doing it in a way that can help stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. We have to ask the question, what did we achieve in November? What red flags may have come up? And now with Mercury going retrograde, what do we need to address or clarify or discuss further or ask for clarification or go back to the drawing board on, and even be open to Mercury retrograde delivering us a reality check on certain things and making things clear? That could either be, as I said, healing, or they could be frustrating, hurtful, disappointing, stressful. But once you have that clarity, or you've asked the question, you can then really say, as you head past December the 15th and start to move towards January the 11th with Mercury direct, still with the Sun present in Sag, illuminating the Sagittarius part of the chart. Let's look at every nook and cranny. Let Spirit guide you. With the Sun present, you will have that connection to the wisest, highest part of yourself, the solar part of yourself that is connected to Source, guiding you as the communications occur. As with Mercury, there's communication, writing, speaking, but there's also processing, data, facts, what is real, what is happening, not fantasy. And especially with Mercury retrograde. Now, this is a different energy with this Mercury. We've talked about Mercury retrograde yesterday. We've talked about the fact that Mercury retrograde can deliver reality checks. We've talked about the fact that Mercury retrograde can sometimes bring opportunities that may be worth considering. You decide what you're going to take on. You know, if Mercury retrograde brings you some sort of an opportunity that is worth considering, it could be worth considering because it's getting you out of some sort of pickle that Mercury retrograde is made clear on, that this situation is a bit of a pickle, and here's something that you can take to get you out of it. And whatever that something is that Mercury retrograde offers, I think it's fair to take a look at it and see whether it's worth taking or not, with the understanding that when Mercury goes direct, things may shift related to that offer. Trust your gut to the best of your ability. See what you can find out about it. You don't have to take it. You don't, if it doesn't feel right. Or you can take it if it does provide you with a lifeline, with the understanding that facts may change, but you'll deal with it. Mercury retrograde might be trying to help you by bringing something to you as well. What the hell is going on with my sinuses and my allergies? You know what it is? These past few days have been the first few days when it's actually been cold enough in Los Angeles that I've needed to use the heating. And there might just be a certain kind of dust thing that, you know, whatever it is. I'm kind of surprised. It doesn't feel coldish or fluey. It just feels like allergies at this point in time. So we'll see. We'll see what it develops into. It's annoying. So we could enter this week with an awareness of opportunity and where we want to go, with the Sun in Sag trining the North Node in Aries yesterday, and the Sun in Sag trining Mars in Leo on the 27th. An awareness in the Sagittarius, the connection between the Sagittarius part of the chart, the Leo communication cycle, but most importantly, the North Node in Aries. An awareness, we might enter it with an awareness, an internal awareness of, I think this is why I want to go next. This is what I want to do. I did that video on the North Node, and I said, don't get too attached to the outcome, so that at this stage in the game, as the North Node is getting ready to leave Aries in a couple of months, we still have another North Node eclipse in Aries on March the 29th, which is what gives us this timeline to the end of the first week of June of next year, of moving in a direction related to the Aries part of the chart. As the Sun moves into Sagittarius, where we have the first of these keys out of the three keys, with Mars retrograde and Mercury and Venus retrograde following this particular Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius till the middle of April to occur, we may be processing, I think I know now where I want to go. I think I know now what these North Node eclipses in Aries may have meant, and what the connection between the Sagittarius part of the chart is, and what sort of a key the Sagittarius part of the chart holds to help stabilize the Pisces part of the chart, and also help me move in the direction that I want. And I'm getting clear on what my goals actually are. And they may not be identical to the goals that I had articulated when I was pursuing, and the North Node made me pursue in March, April, May, June, July, August of 2023 onwards. They could be related, they could be a clarification, or they could be the same ones. You know, there's lots of you who are watching these videos, but an awareness of where I want to go. And a house has various things associated with it. So the awareness of where you want to go from, and the connection between the Sagittarius house and the Aries house and the Leo house there, it could be a different something than the something that you're trying to bring into alignment to help stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. What do I mean by that? If you've got Sagittarius in your third house, you could have an awareness of what kind of things you want to build a social media account on, or a YouTube channel on, or communicate through TED Talks, or you could be contemplating what you want to interview for. But when it actually comes to what in the third house could contribute to stabilizing Saturn in Pisces, which if you have Sagittarius in your third house, that places Sagittarius third, Capricorn, Pisces in the sixth house, I think. Yes. Then you could be contemplating, for example, how to bring something into alignment related to education or education expenses or skill acquisition in such a way that can help stabilize something with your job. So in the third house, these could be two separate third house related activities: interviews, communications, social media, and learning and education skill acquisition. It doesn't have to be the same thing that is related to the Sun trining the North Node and Sun trining Mars, and whatever it is that needs to be taken on in the Sagittarius part of the chart to be brought into alignment with where you want to go, in such a way that it can also help stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. So an awareness as we enter the week somewhere internally about where we want to go on a solar level, and a retrograde Mercury saying, there's something that we've been processing all through November. Let's deepen our processing and our understanding of it. You may be in a place where you are thinking about, especially as you head to Mercury trining Chiron for the second time on December the 1st. Mercury trined Chiron for the first time on November the 19th, when he was direct. Now he's going to trine Chiron for the second time on December the 1st. As you head to December the 1st this week, you may be tapped into your power, coming from a healed place, and be thinking about. You may draft, you may, and it does not have to be December the 1st. Remember, for me, aspects are happening. They are influencing as they approach and get closer. These aspects are already exercising their influence. So even though Mercury is going to try in Chiron on December the 1st and is going retrograde today, give it a couple of days. By Tuesday, Wednesday, as it starts to approach Chiron again, you will start to feel this energy. You could start drafting something, figuring out what you need to do to get deeper into a situation related to the Sag part of the chart. You could be doing all that even as early as tomorrow or day after. You don't have to do it on December the 1st. But deepening an understanding of how to bring the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment with where you want to go in a way that it can help stabilize the Pisces part of the chart through the realm of communication, you start to dig deeper. You either articulate something and you come from a place of power. You have the opportunity to do so, and healing. This is why I'm saying, don't be, if you are trying to uncover and research something that is relatively contentious, come to it still, and you're engaging in a conversation with someone, try to come to it from a healed and a healing place until proven otherwise. And even then, if you're proven otherwise, then all it can tell you, hopefully relatively calmly, is this is where we need to set the boundary. Because with the trine to Chiron, I'm coming to it from a much more secure, completed, healed place. It's not a square to Chiron. The new moon in Sagittarius on November the 30th, and the energy into the Sagittarius part of the chart on November the 30th, the new moon is square Saturn. So that square is encoded into absolutely the month of Sagittarius, the month of December, November the 30th to December the 30th. The focus is going to be on availing of opportunities and taking the action to help bring the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment in such a way that it can help stabilize the Saturn part of the chart. You will find that you are actually not able to successfully or completely consider availing of any opportunities or any attempts to bring the Sag part of the chart into alignment without factoring in what needs to be structured. Are there creative activities, thoughts, plans, spiritual, altruistic, philanthropic, I think I said spiritual again, goals in the Pisces part of the chart that need structure? Is there some sort of deception that needs to be, that some sort of a crisis that peaked in 2014, 15, especially 16, 17, that needs to be resolved, stabilized, compromised on, cleaned up, acted on responsibly in the Pisces part of the chart? That part of the chart is still going to be casting a shadow and a consideration on anything that you're trying to do in the Sagittarius part of the chart to bring the Sag part of the chart into alignment or pursue certain goals there during December. Because the new moon that creates the month of Sagittarius, the 4 weeks, the 28 days from one new moon to the next, is squaring Saturn. It's encoded into that month. And as we're heading to that new moon being created, the sun says, let's think about where we're headed. Let's trine the North Node yesterday. Let's trine Mars in Leo and complete that grand trine between Mars and Leo, the North Node in Aries, and the sun in Sagittarius from November the 17th to November the 27th when the sun trines Mars. Let's have that compass in view. And as Mercury retrograde now starts to go over degrees till December the 15th, let's start to, from a communication perspective, supported by the sun's visibility, moving to the sun in Mercury retrograde conjuncting on December the 5th, and the sun sharing his download with a retrograde Mercury and inaugurating a communication cycle related to the Sagittarius part of the chart. Let's start to process and let's start to shift the focus from the Scorpio part of the chart, even though we're closing out the month of Scorpio till December the 30th, and shift that focus into the Sagittarius part of the chart. And with Mercury retrograde trining Chiron December the 1st, that's part of that. That's part of that conversation. The next aspect that Mercury is going to make is going to be squaring Saturn on opposing Jupiter on December the 4th and squaring Saturn on December the 6th. Opposing Jupiter on December the 4th, squaring Saturn on December the 6th. Those are two important aspects next week that we're going to be talking about. Mercury this week is starting up. You're going to be in a place where it could be that this week you initiate a communication that goes into discussion and processing next week. And whatever's going on in the Sagittarius part of the chart, also, Jupiter in Gemini needs that activity to occur so that he can end a 12-13-year cycle, start a 12-13-year cycle in the Gemini part of the chart. Since November, emphasis on the Sagittarius part of the chart has been building. And now, all of a sudden, it will become clear to us why this is such an important gate that we have to make it through, both from the perspective of where we're going and where we're heading and what we want to create that is joyful and meaningful to us, but also from the perspective of what we need to stabilize and bring into alignment in such a way that the Pisces part of the chart can be stabilized. The Gemini part of the chart can experience the ending and new beginning that Jupiter is trying to create there. And you have the trines with Chiron to help you to come from an empowered place. The question is, will certain relationships, things, 3D manifestations in the Sagittarius part of the chart survive the Mercury retrograde inquiry or not? All the other stuff I said about Mercury retrograde yesterday, if you have Mercury retrograde in your birth chart, being decisive, if you have Mercury direct in your birth chart, or anybody else being open to Mercury retrograde reality checks, all of that holds. Here, in this week, we're just looking at this increased focus. The Sun in Sag, Mercury going retrograde, Mercury trining Chiron, Sun trining Mars, and December 1st, just that process starting. And as I said, by the end of this week, you may set certain communications in the Sag part of the chart in motion. Whether they are actually written or verbal, or whether it is cognitive understanding, researching, looking at things in such a way that next week, when that retrograde Mercury opposes Jupiter and squares Saturn, things come into discussion. And then after December the 15th, when Mercury is direct, he's going to make those three aspects one more time. Opposing Jupiter, squaring Saturn, trining Chiron. So this week starts that process. And the process gets started so that if there are certain things from a communication center perspective you create or you start or you do, then the new moon on November the 30th will pick up on that activity and create the momentum. The wave is going to start to head to the shore. And the full moon on December the 15th is in the sign of Gemini, where Jupiter is. So the activity and the chart, this week in the Sagittarius part of the chart, this week is the week where we start to intensify our focus there, with Mercury going retrograde, trining Chiron, and the Sun trining Mars and having trined the North Node yesterday. And they're getting ready December the 5th to come together. What it means to bring the Sagittarius part of the chart into alignment, what you have to shed, what you can build on, what is being healed, what is not, will become clearer next week. This week, based on what you know, you may be at a point where you get clear on where you need clarity, and you may start to initiate that from a communication perspective. Okay, number 2 this week. Let's just look briefly at Venus in Capricorn, making 2 important aspects. Squaring Chiron, trining Uranus. The trine to Uranus is on December the 2nd, and again, even though it's December the 2nd, it's a week away, we're going to start to feel this. There's everything about Venus trining Uranus, Venus from Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, is glorious. Uranus, since 2018, has been trying to get us to follow and understand the path that is right for us in the Taurus part of the chart. From May of 23 to May of 24, Jupiter went over the Taurus part of the chart, ending a 12-13-year cycle, starting a 12-13-year cycle. On April the 20th, Jupiter conjuncted Uranus, starting a 13-month period of change in the Taurus part of the chart that could help us move in the direction that is right for us. What does it mean for something to be right for us? The example I like to give with Uranus is you can have 2 opportunities. One looks good on paper. One is conventionally resume building. The other one is weaker, but you go into the room for both of them. The one that is weaker, you go into the room and everything feels right. You go into the room that is more conventional and things are not quite as exciting. They may not intentionally. And Uranus is the kind of planet that says, go with what feels right. Because you never know who you're going to meet. What is the right path for you? And the conventional path with Uranus's influence may not be. More than anything else, Uranus is trying to connect you to your authenticity, to your integrity with yourself in the Taurus part of the chart. And Venus, as she's transiting Capricorn and is doing her dual business of, is everything in the Capricorn part of the chart in alignment with where you want to go? What needs to be protected? What needs to be changed? And she says, here are some opportunities potentially to help do that. Financial opportunities, creative opportunities, relationship opportunities. Now here's a perfect example as Venus gets ready to trine Uranus. Mercury is retrograde, but if something comes up for you to implement that feels like it's a Venus trine Uranus thing, or linking the Capricorn part of the chart with the Taurus part of the chart in a harmonious and supportive way, or more to the point, a networking opportunity comes up, a job listing comes up, a opportunity to meet someone, network interview comes up, by all means. Why would you turn an opportunity down anyway if it's at the opportunity phase? Venus also, when she's moving this much further forward from the Sun and Mercury, may also be planting seeds a little bit behind the scenes. It may not be completely clear to you what she's done in trining Uranus until the Sun and Mercury come in late December and into January. There's something about Venus's transit through Capricorn that makes it feel like the harvest of it and the activity and the action towards what Venus is opening up and creating is going to happen in the last week of December, but especially January, which kind of makes sense because you've got the holidays coming up and things will likely slow down for most of us. It's a little bit like Venus allows you to apply for something or interview for something, but the real activity around it is going to start to show up in January or the last week of December somehow. But aligning the Capricorn part of the chart, availing of opportunities, planting seeds, which you may not be doing, Venus may be doing on your behalf that you harvest later, or being open to opportunities that somehow connect you to the path that is right for you from the Capricorn part of the chart to the Taurus part of the chart. Pay attention to it. And if you feel like, well, maybe even though Mercury is retrograde, this is the week when I'll get this done or that done, because that's the, have at it. You know the rules with Mercury retrograde now just as well as I do. Venus squaring Chiron on the 27th. You know, out of everything that we've got going on this week, it's really a little bit of this theme of we may feel like we need to take something on in the Capricorn part of the chart, either temporarily or just generally to help us move in the direction that we want to in the Aries part of the chart. So if you're contemplating something temporary that on the surface makes it seem like it's pulling you away from something, but when you look deeper, it's actually helping you achieve certain goals, then that could be part of this energy between this tension between whatever's going on in the Capricorn part of the chart square. I think I got it. Whatever Venus is doing in the Capricorn part of the chart, asking how you can align the Capricorn part of the chart with what you value may be necessary or may be an important component in how you're healing yourself and empowering yourself in the Aries part of the chart. There may be a dependency there. Chiron may say, I need you to pay attention to the questions that Venus is asking regarding alignment. I need you to pay attention to opportunities that Venus may be planting or bringing up. I need you to act on them either now, if appropriate, or late December, January, if appropriate, to help me, Chiron, continue to heal the Aries part of your chart. There may be a dependency there. So the bulk of the activity in the Sag part of the... So, I'm going to sneeze again. I can feel it. Excuse me. Jeepers. So, the bulk, still Scorpio month till December the 30th. The bulk of the activity is in the Sagittarius part of the chart as things rev up for the new moon on November the 30th. You might start to feel as this week progresses, you feel yourself more energetically depleted, needing to rest. Certainly by the time you get to the end of the week, 20th, 29th, 30th, you may feel it may be hard to get certain things done. You may feel yourself less productive. For those of you who are participating in the Thanksgiving holiday, may not be a bad thing. Just be aware and be conscious that emotionally things can feel very, very bleak, truly, and depressed and kind of hopeless right before a new moon, and then the new moon occurs and the wind gets behind your sails. But also Venus makes a couple of important, especially the trine to Uranus on December the 2nd. So have an eye out for this Capricorn part of the chart, connecting with building a bridge, opening a portal with the Taurus part of the chart. In such a way that you can capitalize on what Venus is asking or doing in late December and in January. Okay? I will leave it at this. I hope you found this useful. As I said, the weekly overviews, you know, different videos I do have different functions. The Mercury retrograde video is going to be received in a very different way than a weekly overview. So I'll still do the weekly overviews. I find them helpful. I find it helpful to kind of get a sense of things. I hope you do as well. And we'll just take it from there. You know, feel free to comment on the video, like the video. These are free ways to support the channel. It gives a greater circulation on YouTube. I've already told you about the $50 30-minute special. By the way, anyone who's inquired about those specials, I have emailed you. So if you don't feel like I haven't gotten an email back, check your junk mail or your spam folder. It might be there. The emails are gone for anyone. So if you are interested in a 30-minute single topic reading for $50, or inquiring about readings general, or about holiday gifts, my email address is in the description box below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Next to the subscribe button, a bell icon, hover over it, click on the wiggly bell on top. You'll be notified whenever I do new videos. thanks button underneath this video that you can use to contribute to the channel. And that's it. I'm going to leave it at this. Thank you so much. Always hard to get things out when Mercury is stationary. And I'm doing this a little bit late, so my own energy is a little bit depleted. So thanks for your patience. Next video, I do want to talk about Venus, and then later the Sun and the new moon in Capricorn and Mercury in Capricorn. And then as we head past closer to the end of the week, I'll do the new moon in Sagittarius video. But the new moon is square Saturn, and we've covered some of the key themes there. But there's stuff to talk about, and we'll cover that. We'll cover that. And those will be the 2 other videos that'll go out this week. Okay, I will leave it at that, folks. Look forward to seeing you again in a couple of days. Take care. Bye.